The Play's the Thing with Judy Sleed. Today's special guest, Frank Sofo, artist and illustrator. And now here's Judy.
That was a lovely introduction, Lee. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome Frank.
Well, thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, I'm very happy to be here with you.
From the Crazy Monkey. And people
That's right,
who
that's how we
don't
met.
know, people who don't know the Crazy Monkey, it sounds like a weird thing from the zoo. But it is an artist studio in East Hampton.
It's an artist. It was started by Andrea McCafferty as a, I think originally she started as a store where she sold pottery and jewelry, and then she decided to make it into a gallery. This goes back a few years. And then recently, as of November, she wanted to move on and do other things, but she decided to offer the idea up to start an artist co-op rather than give up the lease. So she sent out letters to a bunch of artists that she knew, and you know, a lot of us responded, and we had meetings, and you know, now we're a group of 15 artists that are involved in this co-op, and it's been going, like I said, since November. So it's
yes, you have beautiful things there, and you are an artist, and this beautiful picture
thank you.
You made, is that me on the beach?
Were you there that day?
Well, it looks like me from the back. I have a back just like that. It's a lovely picture.
Well, what I like to do is I'm a beach bum. I mean, that's what brought me out here. I spend a lot of my days at the beach with my sketchbook, and I often sketch people on the beach, and then from the sketches, I turn them into paintings later on. So, and I love to capture people that have, you know, the kind of peaceful moment, you know, that you know, that
yes,
you feel when you're relaxed on the beach.
They're not aware that they've been captured.
No, they're not aware, you know, so.
This reminds me of Dan, whom I'm trying to get on this show for the longest time. Dan from Dan's paper.
Yes.
He loves to go on the beach and write. Did you ever see him?
No, I haven't. I mean, I should recognize him with that hat and all. But,
yeah, and you should sketch him when he's unaware. He writes his stories there.
Yeah. But, you know, you'll often see me at either Main Beach or Indian Wells, and with my sketchbook, and, you know.
Even in the dead of winter?
No. Then I'm forced to go into the studio. That's when I do the paintings, you know. I try to do the sketching, the outdoor stuff during these nice weather, and then you know, in the winter months I do these paintings from sketches. Sometimes I use photography.
And then for you it's summer again when you do this.
Yes, it makes me feel like I can't wait till the summer comes along. I can look at the you know, people sitting on the beach. And this is one of the paintings that's, I think I'm going to display at the show at the which is coming up. There's a new show that's going to be opening this Saturday at the Crazy Monkey Gallery, which is in Amagansett. I want to give the location. And it's called Scapes. Each month we have a different theme for the show. So this month it's going to be called Scapes. So even though there are people in it, I figured it fits the seascape. So I mean, scapes could be a broad term. It could be dreamscapes and cityscapes, treescapes.
Well, that's a good title.
Yeah.
And you said you're going to give the location. Well, where Crazy Monkeys, many people would not find it because it's not on the main street.
Yeah, it's right as you're entering the town. I don't know the actual number address, but it's as you're entering right in the town of Amagansett, right after the mobile station. There's a kind of a little shopping area. There's a sandwich place there, and it's right, actually, a lot of people would probably know if they have pets. It's right next to One Stop Pet Store.
Because it's not a street, it's just a little alcove.
It's a little alcove. It's a little alcove. So you can miss it, you know, if you're walking on the street and you're not looking for it. But
well, at least now people know whereabouts
yeah,
to
and
look.
you know, welcome everybody to come to see this show, Escapes.
And I have another picture that you made here. I was going to say I made it, but I'm not going to. So you would like to show this?
Yes. This is also part of the, is that okay? Can you see that?
Well, if the camera, no, it's a little that way. No, yeah, and okay, now
Okay.
up this way.
This way.
Down.
Down.
Yeah, we see most of it. It's
Okay.
beautiful. That's also
Right, this is a
Escape.
watercolor, and it's going to be part of the show called Escapes.
It is very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know, because I don't know how to draw anything, so I really admire people who make these beautiful pictures. And you have a portfolio there. You have some other.
Right, I'm an artist and illustrator. I've illustrated children's books.
Wow, that's really an interesting category.
I'll hold this book up, see if you can see that. This is
Yes.
called The Littlest Red Horse.
Beautiful.
And then this book is another book called The Time Shop. You know.
Great. How many pages would you say?
This is a standard children's book. Standard children's books usually always run 32 pages.
Is that right?
So
I
there's
never
usually
knew
about
that.
16 illustrations per 32 page,
Put
approximately.
it down
you know.
so we could
Yeah.
see your face now.
Okay.
And how long would you say it takes you to illustrate one book with
For this type,
32?
for a children's book, it's usually a, 3 or 4 month project. Sometimes for some artists, it could run even longer, depending on the complexity of the illustrations. You know.
How do you get the feel of it? Do you talk to the writer?
I talk to the, no, you don't talk to the writer. For some reason, they keep the writer and the illustrator separate most of the time. Don't ask me why, but I guess they send me the manuscript, and then from there they'll ask me to do sketches. You know, they may make some suggestions as what they want to depict. You know, but pretty much usually the suggestions are more for the cover. But as far as the interior illustrations go, it's kind of, they leave it up to me to decide, just reading the story and decide, and just sending the art director sketches. I won't, I'll send them several sketches. You might send them several ideas for even one page. And then the art director goes through these sketches, and then they decide which ones they like the most, and those are the ones that I'm going to
And you never
take the
met
next
any
step.
of the authors?
No, not the authors on these two books were no longer around. You know, these stories are fairly old, so the authors
so
have
the
passed on.
authors
Yeah.
passed on, so they cannot complain.
No, that was one of the things they told me about. You know, don't worry about the
Yes.
author getting upset about the illustrations because they're
Oh,
not around
that's
to
why,
complain about
because
it.
I was wondering, if how the author would feel about putting your own thoughts into the sketches instead of her or his ideas.
Well, usually, I think from what I've been told on, where the author is around, I mean, still the illustrator doesn't usually get to meet, this is what I've been told, the illustrator doesn't usually get to meet the author. So I don't know why the publishing companies like to just keep that separate, so you don't...
Making things more complicated.
Yeah, right. And I've illustrated some Nancy Drew covers, which I'll show
Okay,
here.
let's see.
I did about 11 or 12 Nancy Drew covers.
How
Yeah.
interesting. And you, we just never knew that it's you who did all this work. But
One of
this
the-
also is an old book, right?
Well,
The
these were
Nancy
done.
Drew?
These were done. Well, the stories are old, but there's this series that I illustrated where they were trying to upgrade the covers. So so Nancy Drew had to be updated, and
And
then
Miss
her
Nancy
outfits.
Drew is not alive anymore?
Well, they have a different Nancy Drew for each. You know, we had to go. They had to pick a new Nancy Drew, and I went on a. They had a photo shoot for the day, and they dressed her up, and 'cause I did the sketches first. I mean, they gave me a bunch of summaries of the stories, because I couldn't read each book. So, because it was 11 or so books, and they had made some suggestions, and I did a bunch of sketches. And then I showed them to the art director, and they said, "Okay, bring the sketches to the photo shoot."
It's a very interesting field.
Yes, it's
So how did you get started with drawing?
Well, I have to go back to my days in growing up in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Drawing from comic. I mean, I guess I started just copying the superheroes from comic books. Batman, Superman. Mighty Mouse, and that was my first interest in drawing.
And did somebody say, "Wow, that's good"?
Well, I guess I had it was like one of those things where I kind of knew what I wanted to do ever since I was a child. I used to draw on the streets. I remember friends used to ask me to draw. "Oh, draw Mighty Mouse again for us," So, and then I wanted to work for Walt Disney because I loved all those movies that I used to go. I wanted to be an animator and work for Walt Disney. And then eventually, when I went to the High School of Art and Design in Manhattan, and little by little, I started getting involved in kind of away from the idea of being an animator and more of into an illustrator as I met other people, and then my interests changed, and then from there I went on to study at the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. And then I went into the advertising business because everybody told me there's money to be made. The illustration area was a tough business. It's tough to make money. And people said, go into advertising. So I went into the advertising business, and I spent several years in working in the advertising agency as an art director, and then later on I started doing what they call storyboard work, which is sketching for it's storyboards so that it's for a TV commercial. So you have to do a series of almost like the children's book, kind of, but a lot faster. These drawings are done, they have to be, they're done within, a day or 2 days. Where there's a series of the frames that look like a TV frame, and you depict what's going on in the commercial. And this is presented this is to sell to the client, to sell the idea to the client.
That they should buy the product.
That they should, that they produce the commercial, that the whether it's Campbell's Soup or Pepsi, or which was some of the accounts that Schaefer Beer, and several of the accounts I worked on at BBDO, which is the advertising agency I worked at for a number of years. And then after being there many years in the business, I just felt that, the pressure of the advertising business.
I hear that from people, yes.
The deadlines, come Friday, at 4 o'clock, you thought you were going home for the weekend, forget it. They was having a meeting, they're going to show everything on Monday morning, so everybody has to come in for the weekend. So, and that, after a while, I just, it was taking me away from the original idea that I had when I was of being an illustrator for books and children's, finished illustration.
The business took over the art.
Right, and I just decided that it was time for me to move on and, start doing some more stuff, the type of art or illustration that I really cared about.
So now you just answered the question I was going to ask. What do you like to do best?
I'm very, I like to do a variety of things as far as, sometimes one of the things about being in the illustration business was that, which is always a problem, is that they always want a signature style, a look that they can identify with you. And I'm the type of artist that my style, my interests change, my subject matter changes. I want to, you know, I'm just that, you know, that's the type of artist I am. You know, sometimes if you were to walk into my studio, as time people have done, and they look at the walls and they said, you know, how, is this all you?
Is this all you?
You know.
Well, can you show us another different type of painting?
Yes. You asked about how I started drawing, and I've been drawing. One of my passions is drawing, and I learned a lot by just drawing. An artist, a teacher that I had in School of Visual Arts, who was my kind of mentor, suggested if you really want to learn how to draw, carry a sketchbook with you, no matter where you go, whether it's a subway. And I listened to him, and I've been doing it all these years, and I still do it. So, and I'll show you some of the. I call them my subway people, and this is a watercolor that I did from a sketch of two people that I saw on the subway.
Oh.
And I do this quite often. I mean, I think this is like some of the more satisfying things that I enjoy doing. You know, I think it's just kind of some spontaneous and fun.
Very nice, thank you. And another one.
And here's the actual sketch from the actual sketchbook. That's that would have been done from like a it's a small. I don't want to carry a big sketchbook. I don't want to be noticed. You know, while I'm drawing people,
yes.
You know, in waiting room subways and buses and stuff like that. I just love drawing people. I love drawing the different characters and types of people, you know. Again, here is a group of people sitting on the subway train. You know, this was after I sketched it. I brought the sketches home, and I did
you could put it down a little.
An acrylic sketch.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
We could see that.
Okay. This one was I think it was a woman. It was obviously a homeless person, and she just had a certain look to her, and you know, I just tried to capture it.
These are the subway people, huh?
I called them my subway people. You know?
Yeah, well, you could make a whole collection of
well,
subway
somebody suggested
people.
today. I spoke to an artist friend.
You could sell it to the subway company, the transit, the New York Transit.
And here's another one.
Oh, and these are two girls who had a hard day.
Had a hard day coming home.
Sleeping.
You know. That's why they don't notice me drawing them.
Yes.
People on the subways are in their own little world.
Yes.
And so that's, you know, I just love, you know, I'll show you somewhere. Here's another woman that's, this is actually from the sketchbook.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to see that.
Oh, it's really, can you see that
No,
now?
it's because it's white.
Oh, okay.
Black. It's small.
Anyway.
But it's lovely.
And, well, I talked to an artist friend today, and he says, you know, and I had thought of this idea, and he says, you know, because he knows me, and he knows I was doing these sketches for years, and he does similar type of work, and he says, you know, you really ought to think of compiling all those sketches and publishing them and having a book, you know, maybe about your experience of traveling the subways and sketching people on the subways. So
that's a very good idea. Why don't you do it?
Well, I'm going to go for it.
It takes time, yes.
So, but I got a lot of experience in drawing the figure. I love to draw the figure, and I like drawing from life. That's why drawing from the subway and drawing on the beach. It's two different environments completely. Is exciting for me. You know, just going out and drawing, you know, painting and drawing from life.
And now you have your work at Crazy Monkey.
Yes.
But where else did you have a
well,
showing?
I'm also part of the Artists Alliance of East Hampton. I've been in this, and I think I'll be in the studio tour this summer. They have an open studio tour, usually in July. This year I think it's July 14th, 15th, and 16th. And people, you know, you keep your studio open for 3 days, and people come to your studio, and hopefully you sell some work, but you meet a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's just a way of networking with people. I get commissions sometimes to do portraits and things like that. So.
Do you ever put your work in a big store like a bank or a store?
I've shown. I had a show at a few years back at but they no longer. Coach had a gallery in the back of their store at one time. I think they've disbanded that now. But I had a show there.
But I know some people who have their work in the bank. Different banks.
The bank, yeah, the Bank of New York.
New York, yes.
I haven't shown in the bank as yet. I mean, I show with the Alliance. The Alliance has a members show at Ashwell Hall. There's a show coming up at the Springs Improvement Society at Ashwell Hall that's going to have a group show, and I'll be part of that. There's a show coming up, a Memorial Day show at the Southampton Artists Alliance. Artists Association, I think it's called. And they do a Memorial Day show at the Cultural Center, which is right near...
yes, I know where that is. Yes.
And that's going to be running from...
That's where the ducks are.
Right. So that's going to be running for about 4 days. And I'll have 3 or 4 paintings in that show. So I look for opportunity, and there's many out here. That's the great thing about living out on the East End here. And you know, it's a big art community. There's a lot of art groups, a lot of artists out here, a lot of competition, but there's the opportunity to show your work. You know, if you can't, you know, get your foot in the gallery door, there's other areas to opportunities to show your work out here. So. You know,
there is many opportunities, and as you said, the many artists out here. However, there is a chance. I feel there's room for everyone. I
think so. I mean, that was part of becoming a member of the co-op, the Crazy Monkey, just to meet. You know, often art. You know, I know with myself. You know, being an artist is an isolating. Experience. Yes. And oftentimes it's just nice to be part of groups where you get to talk to other artists and you know, meet and see what they're doing, you know, and that's the experience with the Crazy Monkey Gallery. There's a nice group of artists there. I said there was 15 or so of us there, and each artist has a different style, different approach, and it's a nice group, and we have meetings and we talk about ideas as far as what direction we want to take the gallery. I heard that
everybody who draws or paints whatever, there is like there's no one else like it. It's like your signature.
Well, hopefully that's what you strive for. You know, you strive to find.
Yes, you could tell who does it.
You strive for that. That's something. Oh, that, you know. Although, like I said, when people look at mine, they think it's like 3 or 4 different artists there. But I think, kind of, if you really look through the kind of different approaches of different subject matter, you can kind of tell it's me. You know, I think so. I don't know. You know, but.
And which artist would you say you like? Whose paintings do you like Michelangelo or
there's so many.
Or from the old school?
I guess I'm most influenced by the Impressionists because my work tends towards that style. It's very, as you can tell, it's kind of loose. It's kind of painterly. So I mean, the artists like Van Gogh, Gauguin, Monet. You know, Bonnard. I love Bonnard's work. You know, the colors, the use of color. I mean, that's what changed me. I mean, I started using, you know, the use of color. You know, when I painted more an academic type of painting I used to do, but once I started looking at, you know, going to the museum and looking at the Impressionist artists and seeing the brush strokes and that spontaneity, I mean, it really excited me. And that's kind of what I strive for in my own work, to get that kind of, you know, that kind of spontaneous feeling for that it was, you know, it's not labored on, that there's a freedom to it. I mean, I want my work to have a
And
free
getting
look.
back to the you're illustrating children's books. Did you ever try to write a book yourself? Like some people, like Maurice Sendak, he writes and does his own artwork.
Yes, after illustrating several of these books here, the art director that I was working on suggested to me that, although I didn't think of myself as a writer, I never even gave it much of a thought, but he says, you know, you ought to consider writing your own story. And I said to him, you know, I said, John, I'm not a writer. He goes, well, you don't have to be. He says, you just have to have a good idea. He says, because we have, you know, even if you wrote it out, he said, we can always, you know, we get people that can, you know, change it and write it and correct it and stuff like that. So I thought about it, and I've come up with several ideas for children's books that I've written, you know, out, and I've even shown to, you know, so far I haven't had any, you know, haven't had any bites.
You have to keep at it.
Yes.
With anything, you can, if you just do a part-time, then it's not going to happen. You just have to keep at it all the time, and you have to follow up.
Right.
When you send the work in, you don't just let it lay there for months.
Right.
They're going to forget. It's going to get lost under the papers.
Right. I just attended was part of the Artist Alliance group at Asheville Hall this past Wednesday, which was a kind of a marketing thing for artists about how do you send in press releases, and you know, so I know myself, not being a very good business person, you know, that this is something I need to learn more about.
Yes, when you're an artist, you're not a good business person. Neither am I.
You know.
And would you believe a half hour is up?
I know,
and we
no, I
were
wouldn't.
wondering what we're going to do for it. Always, it always is. What are we going to do for a half an hour?
I know.
But
I said,
it
can I
always goes so fast.
I know. I said, can I talk for a half hour? I was nervous about that.
And
know.
it's been very informative and very nice. And I learned a lot from what you said, like what you were saying about the paintings you were watching. You're looking at the brush stroke. Now, who would look at the brush stroke? I didn't.
Oh, I always look at that.
I
you
know,
the way the
really
brush, the strokes go
amazing.
down. I mean, if you look at Van Gogh's, you know, work, I mean, you see the way he put down the movement. I mean, it's such, you know, he captured the movement of nature. I mean, it's so beautiful. You know, so,
Yes.
and if I could get close to that.
Bye.
Well, thank you.
Bye. You want to wave to the people?
Oh, okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. See you again.